What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Jeff in it here. Thank you so much for tuning into this video. This is a brand new tier list that I'm doing, but this isn't about who the best heroes are. This is actually about who has the highest potential to be a throw pick. Now, before we hop into this, if you have not subscribed yet, please take a second to do so. Greatly appreciate it. I'm trying to build this page, and mostly because my wife told me if I build a gaming page, she would let me game more. So you are helping me out greatly by hitting that sub button. It's free to do so, costs you nothing, but it helps me out a lot. All right, help this guy game as much as possible. So throw picks. Now this is a term that I know we are all familiar with, and I'm sure that you have been accused of throwing, and I'm sure that you've been in the pregame lobby choosing your hero during the banning phase, and people are telling you that who you want to be is a throw, and then you lose and they blame it on you. Look, any hero can be a throw. Any hero in the right hands can be OP and can win a game for you and can just be so good. But on the other hand, any hero in the wrong hands can be bad. Okay. Throwing, it's not always intentional, right? There can be an unintentional throw. You can unintentionally throw the game by not swapping because the comps aren't really working in your favor by who you picked. Like as an example, let's say you are really good with Spider-Man and you want to play Spider-Man, but they've got Hulk on their team, they've got Namor, and you're getting killed by the squids. You're having a really hard time diving. You can't be effective with Spider-Man, but you continue to play the entire game as Spider-Man. That's an unintentional throw. You should change. If you're not helping your team out, you are unintentionally throwing. And that's the thing. I don't think that people are necessarily trying to do things on purpose. Sometimes people do throw on purpose, yes. But I think just in general, there needs to be like a higher level of awareness of saying, okay, am I helping my team or am I not helping my team? Am I helping my stats or am I helping my entire team's stats? These are questions that you have to be asking yourself constantly while you're playing, because as the enemy team swaps heroes, you need to maybe be swapping heroes too. This is part of the game, and I think that's your highest level of just like benefit and awareness, is to understand when who you are playing as isn't being effective. So I had a game yesterday. I was playing as Rocket. This is the first time somebody has told me that I was throwing by picking Rocket. They were not happy about it. They were calling me a trash panda, a dumpster dweller, all these things, which I thought was funny. But they were telling me in the early game that I was throwing because I was picking Rocket. Let's take a look at the game though. Here are the stats from that game. Okay. 7-7 and 23 with Rocket. You're not really shooting your gun too much as Rocket, so getting those kills isn't really a big deal. 0 final hits. But again, we've talked about this before. These numbers here, these aren't kills. These are assists. If you nick somebody right before they die, you're going to get +1 to this. Okay. So, I mean, that's just a fact. Okay. These aren't kills. You can't be like, oh, I went 20 and 15. No, you helped get 20 kills and you died 15 times, 14 final hits. So if you want to put it that way and assume all these final hits were, you did all of the work yourself, you died 15 times, you went -1. Okay. 40,000 healing with Rocket on this one. We lost, and Choco here and Dubes blamed me. They blamed me at the end of the game. They were complaining about me. So, you know what I mean? I don't really know. I don't really know how I threw, but they said I did. Okay, so let's talk about these organized sections that I have here. Possible throw picks, in my opinion, these are just the heroes that I think have the highest potential to be an unintentional throw. Let's say it that way. Here we have the heroes with the highest utility. Like I would say that these are safe bets for you, just as a generic statement. These are safe picks. You've got some tanks in here, some healers. There's no DPS in here. So let's start with the possible throw picks first. We'll start with Jeff, my favorite. People think that Jeff is a throw pick. Sometimes when I show him in the pre-banning phase, people will tell me not to be him and say that it's a throw, and they will actually ban him so I can't play him. My own team will ban Jeff so that I can't even be him. Like it's that serious. People throw out crazy things. Somebody yesterday told me, oh, picking Jeff is a 90% loss like percentage. Show your work. I don't know where you got that number from, but I will say, however, that Jeff is a high probability of a throw pick. And the reason being is that a lot of people don't play Jeff correctly. I would say the majority of people don't play him correctly. They try to do the crazy diving, the backline flanking, and the DPS Jeff play, and that can work. That can be very effective. If someone's very good with him and his movement and knowing how to position and get around the map, that can be extremely effective, and you can really annoy the other team. Kind of like it's kind of similar to, playing cap. Problem is you can only do that with Jeff if you've got two other healers on the team, because if it's just Jeff healing and, cloak and dagger healing, and now Jeff's running off doing all this, he's not healing. Now your team only has one healer. So that creates a huge problem. That's a throw. That's an unintentional throw. Maybe people don't realize that having two healers is like kind of a must, but that can make him a throw pick for sure. And I would say the chances of you running into somebody playing with that are more likely than somebody playing as Jeff who's actually focusing on healing and just using the healing to generate the energy for the CC from the ult, because Jeff's ult is like one of the best CC on the map. If it lands, right, you can miss, but being able to just remove people from the map is huge. And healing boosts his ult up faster than doing DPS. So you're doing yourself a disservice by constantly trying to play DPS Jeff, because you're going to have less ults. And the ults are arguably the most important thing from his kit, in my opinion. Spider-Man, I would say also a high probability throw pick. Some people are very good with Spider-Man. He can be very effective on certain maps, but you just see people too often, in my opinion, like trying to be cute. They're just trying to do the little tricks and pull people off the map. They're trying to do that cute Spider-Man play that's, it can be effective, but like, is it really that helpful? Especially when you're not good at getting out, or you're having issues like with the diving and then you're just not swapping. I see a lot of Spider-Man players going like, 22-17. And at the end of the game, they're mad. They're like, you guys all suck. Like, I was doing so well. You're not, though. The stats aren't that great. And then they blame it on not getting healed or whatever. But like, look, Spider-Man players out there, you're kind of on your own for healing. Like, really, you're always so far ahead. They're always diving so far ahead of everything. You have no line of sight. Right now, below Grandmaster, like all the way through, like where I'm working up toward getting to Grandmaster right now, I actually see him banned a lot. And it's funny enough, it's not because people are afraid of a good Spider-Man. They're afraid of a bad Spider-Man. Nobody wants Spider-Man on their team because there's a very high percentage chance that they're not going to be good and they're not going to be helpful and they're not going to swap. They're not going to swap to somebody else. So many people see like Necros' videos and they're just like, I want to be that, but you can't. You're not going to be like, unless you spend a ton of time, and then they only main Spider-Man. And then that's why we have like just so many Lord Spideys out there right now that just don't have good stats, but it is what it is. The next one would be Wolverine. I would say he's a low probability throw. Wolverine is very good. He's very tanky. He's got great survivability. He's super effective against tanks and against support players. He can be a real menace if somebody's good with him. If you're bad with him, not so good. He does have some counters, and I think with Wolverine, he becomes a potential throw pick if you are, well, with any of these, I'll just make this blanket statement right now. Any of these heroes can be a throw pick if you're bad with them, but he can be potentially a throw based on team compositions. There are ways, like, if you have a lot of CC on your team, it can be really tough for a Wolverine to kind of maneuver around the back line and be effective. Also, tanks can do pretty well at avoiding him, especially if you have high, like tanks with higher mobility, like Venom or even Thor. I see these two specifically really give a Wolverine a run for his money. Magic, I'm going to put up in the high probability throw. If you're really good with her, she's super, super good. I've seen some like crazy Magic players and it's just like unbearable. It's like you may as well just surrender. That one person alone is just making the game so tough. But I do see a lot of people that don't know how to play her super well. And I think that because you are running like kind of just the specific role of like trying to dive the back line, if you're not being effective in that and you're getting CC'd or you're just getting killed by the strategist, which is very probable, and you're not making that change, then continuing to main her for that game can become a throw. I feel the same way about Black Panther. A good Black Panther is nuts, but more often than not, they're inaccurate, they're missing their skills, they're wasting their cooldowns, they're committing to dives that they shouldn't do. This is honestly one of the biggest reasons that diving the diving meta is so heavy right now is everybody wants to do it because they want that satisfaction. They want that like dopamine boost of I dove in, I got their healers are down. I took out, 2-3 people by myself because I dove the back line. The problem with that is that people are forcing the dives. Often, I'm seeing this pretty often, dives are just forced and they're doing it in inopportune moments. And I would say that Black Panther is probably the hero that I see people try to dive with in the most inopportune moments the most often. I mean, I don't have any problems with Black Panther. So I just feel like he has a high potential of being a throw pick. He's got one thing that he's going to do, try to dive the healers. And outside of that, you're not bringing any value to your team. So if it's not working and you continue to play him, then that's a problem. Cap, I will put down as a low probability throw. He can be very good and very, very annoying and tough to deal with. But that's only if the enemy team is focusing you as Cap. If they're wasting their time on you, then you're doing your role perfectly. You can play a whole game with Cap and get no kills. But if you annoyed the entire team so much all game that they were just focusing on you and the rest of your team was able to come through and just roll through them, then you have played a great Cap game. The problem is if you are with a team that just basically might CC him, but nobody's spending a lot of time on him, they're just kind of annoying, like ignoring him, then he's not quite as useful and the utility is not really there. So he does have the potential, a low probability, I think, of being a throw pick. Iron Fist I'll put there as well. Low probability. You see him be a throw pick when he's just constantly focusing people that he can't take down. People have, when they play Iron Fist, it seems like they just have tunnel vision. They just like, I'm going to get this Jeff. I'm going to get this Rocket. And they just don't stop trying. You're not helping your team out at that point. It's very easy to get away from him. Like truthfully it is, especially if you have a little bit of help from your team. He can be good, yes, but more often than not, it's just kind of a wasted pick spot. Below Grandmaster, at least, you start to see him actually getting banned like as you rank up higher because people can be super good with him and he can be very effective. But more often than not, it's just like somebody with tunnel vision with him, just running and punching in the same direction and not accomplishing anything. There's the potential because of that for him to be a throw pick. Let's touch on these tanks here. Thing, low probability. He becomes a throw when you are overextending. He has great survivability, but you need to be in line of sight of your healers. I played a game yesterday with with a Thing that was just constantly just like barreling in and getting out of sight and just constantly dying, going in 1v6. Like I see that often with Thing players. They think that they can get away with it. And you can't. If the team's not with you, you have no healing, you have no assistance, you're just going to get taken down. Same thing with Hulk. I see Hulk players try to like dive too much and be cute with him, jumping in, trying to do some damage and stuff or take out healers, and it doesn't always work, and then you're down a tank. I would put him at low probability though. Same with Venom. These three can be so good, but if you are overextending with them, then you're not really doing it correctly, and that can cause a huge problem for your team and you're not bringing in a lot of value. It is more likely, I want to be clear here about the lowest probability of throw here. What I'm saying is like anyone in this list, it's unlikely that it's going to be a throw. But if you're playing the role wrong, if you're playing the hero wrong, that's when that comes into play. Thor, we'll put him here too. Overextending can be a problem with him, but in general he's got great survivability and he's going to be super helpful to your team, especially if someone knows how to play back with him and play safe with him. I'm just going to go ahead and throw all three of these up here at once. These are niche roles, especially these two. All you're doing with these two is trying to snipe the back line or trying to snipe the DPS players, especially if they have like a flyer, they've got like a torch or a Iron Man up. The role of these two is to snipe healers and snipe DPS players. If you're missing your shots, if you don't know how to position very well, if you're not focusing the right people, I see Hawkeyes and Black Widow sometimes that just shoot the tanks. I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing? You're literally shooting the wrong people on the team. The one person you shouldn't be shooting is who you're shooting right now. They just hit that one shot, tanks back to full health. So there's just no point. I think there's a very high potential of these being throw picks unless you totally have the role locked in. You know where to position so you can hit the right people and you're accurate. If you're inaccurate, don't play them. Like don't even force it. Same thing goes for Psylocke. This is a dive-heavy character meant for flanking. You got to be accurate, though, and you got to know how to get in and out quickly. More often than not, I see them overextending, and they're kind of predictable. As a result, it's pretty easy to deal with them, even as a strategist. You can evade Psylocke very easily if you are just aware of the fact that one is on the map with you. If someone's very good with her, it can be brutal, but it's uncommon below Grandmaster, in my opinion. These two, we can just bundle them up together and put them here at low probability. These are two very good DPS players with great utility. Bucky's very strong and has really good survivability, even as a duelist, which is surprising. He's got good shielding, and his health is pretty good. Very high mobility here with Star-Lord. It's very easy for him to get in and out of the fights. He deals a lot of damage. He's a very strong pick, I would say, but there is the potential for him to be a throw. Honestly, Star-Lord's greatest attribute, in my opinion, is his ult. So if you're not effectively farming your ult and utilizing your ult often, then you're not using the character right, and I think that kind of makes him a little bit of a throw. So this is highest probability, lowest probability, and I just want to reiterate again, any of these heroes can be fantastic, but if you are not playing with your team and helping your team out with them, or hitting the right targets, or simply using their kit correctly, then you could argue you're looking at an unintentional throw here. These heroes with high utility, I would place these as safe picks, like I said before. I mentioned that I didn't think that there was a DPS in here, but there is. Moon Knight's in here. And Namor too. There are so many reasons to not feel like you have to play DPS. Tanks deal a lot of damage. Supports deal a lot of damage. I was watching Necros play the other day with Mantis and just doming people, doing so much damage with Mantis, hitting headshots. She's got great CC. She is a healer, but she can play like pseudo DPS. You have the ability with so many of like these high utility heroes to get a lot of eliminations in game. You don't have to play DPS to get kills. You just don't. You can see people do like crazy numbers with Thor and Venom, and even like Cap. You can see people get like tons of eliminations with him. Same with Emma and Moon Knight. I mean, Moon Knight is DPS, but you see some crazy games with Loki. Rocket, you're not really getting many kills, but you don't have to. That's fine. I just think that you have some stronger picks, and I think that it's totally fine to pick any of these heroes here in the high probability or low probability of throwing the game. You can pick any of them. What you have to do is understand your role and how you're helping your team. And if you find that you're playing, let's say you play BP. Let's say you play BP and sometimes you have great games and other times you don't have great games with him. You need to acknowledge that you need to maybe swap. And when you do decide that you need to swap and you realize that, pick someone with a higher utility if they're not already brought into the game. There's no reason to feel like there's two healers, so I shouldn't bring another strategist on board. You can bring Mantis on and boost everybody's damage on your team. You can add some additional healing just to increase survivability. You could bring in Luna if you don't have one, just for the ult that she has. You could bring in another tank. Strange does a ton of damage. You've got great CC from Emma. You've got great objective presence and control with Penny. You don't have to say like, I'm playing a duelist, I got to swap to another duelist. Play a different role. You can deal damage just the same way, you know? So I just think these heroes specifically become an unintentional throw when you don't make the change, when you should already be realizing that you are not providing value to your team, whether that value is in healing, tech on the map, buffing your team, debuffing the other team, creating obstacles, making the game tough for the other team. If you are not doing that, then you need to swap off of these, I would say. Don't overextend as the tanks. Don't chase with your, chase characters. Don't make yourself too visible with these two duelists. Don't make yourself an easy get here. Don't focus the wrong people. Don't be shooting the tanks. Don't try to flank too hard and overextend. Don't commit when you shouldn't be committing to the dive. Don't try and be cute. Don't try and be cute with Spider-Man. Like, just play the game. Just play and help your team. So who are safe picks? I would say the safest picks, let's just do like one from each role, like safest picks right now. Tank, safest pick, Strange. The shield is not to be ignored at this moment. It is extremely powerful. It's extremely good. We'll do two, actually. We'll do two tanks. Emma, we'll throw up there as well. I would say for the healers, Loki and Luna would be your strongest picks, especially because having these two on your team guarantees that you can run the Luna ults back to back by copying the hero skill. There are only 2 DPS in here, so let's just go ahead and throw them up. You could say these are safe bets. I don't know necessarily that I feel too comfortable with him being here. He has high utility because of the squids, but he is heavily countered, and if you don't have Hulk on your team, then he does lose a lot of value. I'd honestly just throw him back down here with high utility and just say, if we're going to bring in Torch gets banned a lot, I would say just bring Scarlet Witch up here. Hela gets banned a lot. Scarlet Witch never gets banned. I just don't ever see her getting banned. These are safe picks. These are value. You've got a good ult with her. She does good damage. She can fly around, good escapability. You've got great damage here, great healing, great damage and healing. You've got CC, high damage, high survivability. You've got the shielding, high survivability, great objective control. These would be safe picks where I feel like you could show any of these characters in game and nobody would say that it's a throw. Or you could play that game with them and do decently and people wouldn't blame it on you if you lost. I feel like if you picked any of these people and didn't play well, they would just blame you for throwing. Venom's just a unique one. I think people have a high expectation of Venom players. So when they don't play well, people are just like, oh, Venom sold. It is what it is, I guess. But I would say these are safe picks. Most simplistic value. This is the other tier here, or the other like section that I wanted to talk about. This is reserved for, I would say, these are heroes that you could pick that you are going to get value with very easily. It is very simple to provide assistance to your team with these heroes. Strange is going to go in there. The shield is insane. It is so easy to help your team with him. Rocket as well. He's a bit of a heal bot, yes, but at least you know you're locked into that role healing, and you know that a teammate is locked into that role healing. You've got the beacon, which can res a teammate, which is extremely effective, getting someone right back into the fight, especially if it's a tank. And then also the ult is extremely powerful. It is just extremely powerful. Penny, she's becoming more and more effective. I'm seeing some crazy Penny players, and it can be very tough to deal with. Mantis as well. If you're playing her like kind of as an off healer, like a DPS player, it can be very effective. She's got great CC, and like damage boosting your team is something certainly not to be ignored. I would say that she does have very simple value, and it would be easy to realize that value. And you've got good dive defense for yourself too. You can just stun somebody. You can sleep them when they dive on you. And as long as you've got good comms, you've got, the ability to have your team help you out. I would say that Adam Warlock has good value as well. He's become so much better. And we're seeing people play him more often now because of the change to his kit. He's just, he's great. He does a lot of DPS. And then the healing is like super good as well. Luna's got great utility by being able to heal 2 people at the same time with her little frost mark. And then also her ult is extremely good. You could put Loki down here as well, just because of the clones. You're creating a lot of distraction. You're busying up the map, and that makes him very good and very effective. I like Moon Knight a lot right now. I really do. I don't know if I'm like a little bit biased to it, but he is just a DPS player that if it goes unchecked, like even if he's not getting a lot of kills, it's just always a hindrance. You're just always getting hit by him. And it makes situations harder than they would be had he not been picked by the enemy team. So I think that there's a lot of value there in him. You can kind of play back and just use your onks and just be doing that AoE damage. It really is a deterrent. It helps you kind of keep people back, and it allows for some really quick elims too sometimes. So that's it, guys. I mean, I think that we have a lot of information to kind of like unpack here, and I think that it's just very important to recognize that any hero can be good. And what we're talking about here more so than anything is just like the unintentional throw. And this is like, you're trying to be too cute with a character. You're trying to do like the crazy stuff. You're just trying to pull it off. If that's what you're trying to do, then that's a problem. You should swap to someone with higher utility, a greater chance of helping out your team, and then you'll start to see better results. So keep that in mind going forward as you try to rank up more. And hopefully this list makes sense to you guys in that regard, and it will help you realize that you do need to swap sometimes, or maybe you should just be trying to main a different hero at this point in time. So anyway, with that being said, appreciate you guys watching. If you haven't subbed yet, please do so, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Cheers.